We've had Aloy in Genshin Impact for 6 months now. What's next? It's your boy Beck, and today I want to talk about Genshin Impact and potential crossover characters. Obviously, this is all wishful thinking and speculation on my part, so don't take any of this too seriously. Alright, let's get into it. With Genshin Impact coming to the Nintendo Switch, hopefully sometime soon, it would be the perfect time to have a crossover character with a Nintendo franchise. And who better than the series lead of a game that led to a lot of inspiration for Genshin Impact itself.
Who's that Pokemon?
I think Link fits well into the Genshin world as a fantasy adventure hero, and I would just love to see him in the game. Now, if Link were to be in the game, I think his element would be either Pyro or Anemo. He's had both wind-based and fire-based attacks in previous games. I personally think Anemo fits Link better, as Link is connected to the Triforce Piece of Courage, which is the piece that is connected to the goddess Feor, and Feor is connected more to the element wind. For example, you'll see the Pharaoh's Wind magic spell in Ocarina of Time. As for his weapon, obviously sword or bow, that makes most sense. I think for him, obviously the Master Sword is the most iconic weapon in the game, and honestly one of the most iconic weapons I think in video game history. So it makes more sense, I think, for him to be a sword user and to him have kind of a Master Sword looking special weapon that goes with his character. I do think, however, it would be cool to have an elemental skill or something that, similar to Child's Foul Legacy Raging Tide attack, although I worry that that might make him a bit broken. As for his elemental skills and bursts, I think his elemental skill would be cool to have it be something like a boomerang, similar to how he uses the Gale Boomerang in Twilight Princess. It could create a small tornado of swirl damage in an arc away from the player. I think you could maybe hold it to get better aim or just throw it for a quick shot. Then I think his elemental burst could be something like his charged up Master Sword Skyward Strike from Skyward Sword. I think that would be a cool and reasonable burst attack.
Who's that Pokemon?
Okay, not to be that person who wants to put Cloud in everything, but I think he or whoever the lead character from the new Final Fantasy 16 would make a really good addition. It could make a good tie-in for whenever Final Fantasy 7 has their next update, or whenever pre-orders start for Final Fantasy 16, similar to what happened with Aloy with the pre-orders of Horizon Forbidden West. However, since I don't know enough about the new characters of Final Fantasy 16, I'm just gonna assume we're choosing Cloud here. For his element, I was looking at his limit breaks to try to determine what it might be. It was a bit hard for me to kind of determine because, if we're just going off of magics, you can kind of use whatever magics you want with the... What the hell are those orbs called? Materia, that's what it is. What I ended up deciding was the Geo element, mostly just due to the fact that he's got this meteor limit break, and I guess that is Geo-ish. Weapon is pretty obvious. He would have a claymore that would look like his Buster Sword. That makes sense. For his elemental skill, I'm thinking something similar to his Meteor Rain limit break attack. In Final Fantasy VII, this attack sends 6 meteors down on random opponents. I think this could easily be worked into an AoE attack in Genshin. For his burst, I was thinking of his limit break Omni Slash. This attack is 5 quick sword attacks at 1 enemy, and I think that could work pretty well as a burst.
Who's that Pokemon?
With Sora now in Smash, maybe some other crossovers are a possibility. Yes, It's wishful thinking, but who can blame a girl? Gotta love me some Kingdom Hearts. Instead of Sora though, I personally would like to see Riku as the crossover character in Genshin. This is not just because he's my favorite character, although that's part of it. I think because his Keyblade doesn't look so much like a key, I think that would work a bit better in Genshin's world. I mean, although having random funky looking weapons isn't exactly new. We've got that tuna fish in there. But, okay, yeah, maybe it is because I just love Riku, okay? Leave me alone. For his element, I think Pyro makes the most sense. In Kingdom Hearts 3, most of his basic attacks are light and dark based. However, one of his main spells is Dark Viagra. Viagra. It's like Viagra except with an F. One of his main spells is Dark Viagra. This is why I would choose Pyro as his element, although I do think it'd be cool if they added some light and dark effects to his attacks. Not like actual like damaging effects, but just like visual effects. I think that would look cool. His weapon, of course, would be a sword, as, you know, he uses the Keyblade. Although some of the Keyblades look more Claymore-y, I think, with Sora. Riku's is definitely more of a longsword type of weapon. I think for his abilities, it would be cool for his elemental skill to be a forward thrust attack. Either that or something similar to Diluc's skill, where you tap it a few times and you can chain together this combo. And I think his burst should be based off of his Dark Viagra attack, where he shoots off homing fireballs. I think that'd be cool.
Who's that Pokemon?
Demon Slayer is pretty much the biggest anime in the world right now, or at least one of them. And it's also got a few video games at this point, and definitely more down the road. I think the character designs and abilities really work with the world of Genshin, and I think that'd be a great crossover. Now, Tanjiro uses the water breath style, and so, you know, for that, I would assume his element should be Hydro. His weapon, of course, would be a blade. You could easily make a cool-looking katana for his character-specific weapon. I think his elemental skill and elemental burst should be based off of his water breath styles. I think his elemental skill should be his most used water breath style, which is second form water wheel. In my opinion, then, his elemental burst should be his 8th form waterfall basin. This is a powerful AoE move. By bringing his sword down with an immense amount of strength, Tanjiro creates a wave-like effect that dampens the effects of gravity and damages enemies surrounding him. Like, what would be cooler for a burst, am I right?
Who's that Pokemon?
Now, I love Megaten games. We're talking Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, etc. And these games have been re-rising in popularity lately. Personally, I think it would be cool to have the Nahobino from Shin Megami Tensei 5. He would obviously be an Electro Sword user, and I think that'd be super cool. But realistically, I don't see that being the choice were this crossover to happen. I think more realistically, a Persona main character makes a lot more sense. Mostly because a new Persona game or another spin-off of a Persona game, because we know Persona loves its spin-offs, we know Megaten loves its spin-offs. I think that that would happen sooner than a new mainline Shin Megami Tensei game. So to me, it makes more sense to have it be a Persona character. Not knowing for sure what this character would be, it's a bit hard to plan out, to discuss what kind of moves they would have. So honestly, I'm not sure what their element would be. However, for a weapon, I think they should be a catalyst user, and you could have a weapon that kind of looks like a smartphone, because, you know, in a lot of games you're using smartphones to summon demons and, you know, or in Persona games, shades, and I think that would be pretty cool. As for their abilities, I think it would be really cool to have one of their abilities be a familiar type move where, you know, similar to like how Amber has Baron Buddy, we've got Gooba, and Ito he brings out like a cow. I don't know if the cow has a name. As you can tell, I don't have Ito yet. I would love to have Ito though. He's pretty fun. So I think something where you bring out a pet or whatever would be cool, because that would emulate kind of the summoning factor that happens in the Mega 10 game. And then for the burst, it's hard to say. Again, I'd have to decide knowing more on what that character would end up being.
Who's that Pokemon?
A little short addition here is I would kind of love to see a crossover with maybe a more indie game series. I don't know that that would happen with a big gacha game, but I think that would be cool. And for that, I would say I think Hollow Knight would be really cool for that. Honestly, I haven't yet played Hollow Knight. It's on my to-do list, and I don't know much about the game or the character, but just imagining that character animated in the Genshin style, I think would be really cool. So that's kind of where I'm coming from on that. I don't have any idea what kind of moves or anything like that they would have. I don't really know a lot, but I think it would be cool, like design-wise.
Who's that Pokemon?
Now, as a completely self-indulgent choice, wouldn't it be kind of cool to have a Jedi in Genshin? Have a special glowing sword to go with it? There's always a new Star Wars game, always a new movie, show, book, comic that you could easily tie it in with it as a promotion type thing. So as far as that reasoning goes, I think that'd be easy enough of an excuse to bring a Jedi character in. For their element, I said Jedi, and so for a Jedi character, I would assume they would have Anemo. If it was a Sith, of course, Electro. But I think it makes more sense for a Jedi character to be a crossover character chosen. The weapon obviously would be a sword, and yes, I know a lot of these are sword users that I've brought up. It's just kind of the way it happened. This is like Smash all over again. All the sword users, which to be honest are my favorites. So for me, I was happy with it, but you know. Then for the Jedi's abilities, I would say, you know, a force push type thing for their elemental skill. And then for their elemental burst, maybe a frenzy or a power-up buff that makes them stronger. Or the opposite, where it lowers like the enemy's elemental resistance or something. I think one of those two would make sense for them. There's some other crossover ideas that I think are pretty plausible, but I don't have much more to say on them, so I'm just kind of gonna run them off quickly here. I think a crossover with The Witcher or God of War would be cool. I don't have a lot to say on them because I've not played either of those series, but having The Witcher or Kratos as a character in the game, I think could be plausible and would work. And then three others that I'm gonna just lump together are Fire Emblem, Dragon Quest, or the Tales of series. All three of these are popular fantasy RPG series that I could really see people getting excited about a crossover event with. They also provide a wide range of potential characters, potential weapon uses, abilities, elements. There's a lot of possibilities with that, and I think that'd be really cool. Thank you for sticking by with this video of me just rambling about probably never gonna happen things in Genshin. I just like Genshin. I was thinking about this the other day and figured I'd make a video. If you're wondering why my background is this, I am doing a lot of rearranging and moving some stuff around in my place, and so for right now it's kind of going to be like this for a while until I can get some things reorganized and hopefully have a much better and much more usable space. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you like this at all, please like and subscribe, comment, etc. That would be great. Alright, thanks. Bye.